Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Chan Ki Baat, and we're fortunate to have with us Professor Mukul Asher. He's a professorial fellow at National University of Singapore. He's a director of public policy at Global Village Foundation, which works on public policy issues with respect to the state of Haryana, and he's also a fellow at SPMRF. Thank you so much, sir, for joining Chan Ki Baat. Ladies and gentlemen, the context is that we are beginning this special series on covering state budgets, which has not just been done in the media, and the Haryana budget is out. And the context of this interview is we would like to understand the philosophy behind the budget and what are the issues that the budget addresses with Professor Sir. Thank you so much, sir, for joining Chan Ki Baat.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for having me.
So the first question that I would like to ask is, what's the underlying message which is going in the budget if you see it as a public policy veteran?
The underlying message is that Haryana as a state needs to move towards much more professional management of its economy and its public finances. So the budget should then be an occasion to outline the development strategy, vision, and over the medium term, what are the kind of initiatives that would help in that direction.
So, sir, could you please elaborate how some of the trade-offs are being taken care of and how this economic and fiscal management actually takes place to the specific example of the Haryana budget 2016?
The main trade-offs for 2016-17 that the budget is managed reasonably well are one, difficult agricultural situation due to the climate change, the deficient monsoons and the agricultural related stress. Recent reservation disturbances that took place in the state just few weeks before the budget. The need for fiscal prudence, continuing fiscal prudence, as this government has been trying to address the fiscal issues or issues from fiscal mismanagement of the government that was there previously, and to create growth nodes for the state in the future. So these are the different, you have to have trade-offs. In addition, there is also need to create fairness and to see that the benefits of the economic activities of government initiatives, public communities are reaching as wide a section as possible.
Okay. So when you talk about fiscal prudence, any specific measure that you would like to point out? So I was reading about the budget. I got to know about something of a debt management office is also being set up. If you could elaborate on the fiscal prudence part.
Essentially, we look at the indicators of how much own tax revenue a state is generating. What is the state's deficit on the budget, and whether on the balance sheet of the budget, whether the debt levels are manageable. Now, when we look at this budget, the budget does reasonably well on all these three indicators. For example, the state's own tax revenue to its gross state domestic product is close to 7%, and that's a reasonable figure when we compare with other states. Importantly, the earlier trend of decline in this ratio from 2011-12, before this government took office, has now been reversed. So I think that is a good sign. All the debt indicators, the fiscal indicators, are all within the limits that have been set by the 14th Finance Commission and by the RBI and other authorities. So the budget, the overall aggregate public finances have been managed reasonably well.
So also you've written about cooperative federalism.
Yes.
So how does that, like in terms of specifically the state budgets, and how will that actually contribute, and how can that be lessons for other states?
Well, there are at least two major initiatives that are announced in the budget, which are part of the cooperative federalism. First is the UDAY scheme, where the utility distribution companies, the electricity companies have huge debt. If the union government has launched this scheme, the state governments have to fulfill certain conditions and undertake certain reforms so that the electricity, which is a major necessity for Haryana to grow in the future, that situation improves. So in this budget, the state has said that they are accepting the scheme. They will work with the union government to bring about the improvement in the electricity distribution situation. The second area is that the Indian Railways have an initiative where they want to work with the states to improve the state connectivity, to improve the resources, the productive assets of the state, to use it more productively. So what this budget does is to explicitly indicate that Haryana will work with the Indian Railways to improve connectivity within the state. And that we know that to have a reasonable livelihood opportunities, in today's world we need physical connection, we need digital connection. So both this physical and the digital connection, plus the roads that the union government is going to be building, passing through the state, that also the state government has indicated its willingness to cooperate very closely. So both the connectivity, physical and digital, is a very good example of cooperative federalism.
Sir, my last question would be that you've been a veteran of analyzing budgets, whether it's the union budget on which you've written extensively for quite some time. How do you see this budget? She was talking about cooperative federalism. I'll take another pillar, which is competitive federalism. So how do you see this budget, say, different to the state budgets of the past, not just of this state, but say of the other states? What's that one principal thing which you feel would take Haryana forward in the era of competitive federalism?
The idea of competitive federalism is that states should constructively improve their business environment, their competitiveness, their ability to provide public amenities to citizens in an affordable and accessible manner. Now, in this particular budget, there have been several initiatives that are very new for the country. One is the setting up of the Fiscal Policy Institute, which is the Haryana government, and this indicates, has come to the conclusion that increasingly professional, empirical evidence-based inputs will be needed to make fiscal policies, and the capacity of those who man or who are officials of fiscal institutions will need to be developed to a much greater extent. So this Fiscal Policy Institute has been set up. public-private partnership division itself has been set up. Debt and cash management office has been set up. So there are different types of initiatives that the budget has taken in order to look to the better management, and only through better management can you be more competitive.
Thank you so much, sir. And
I think they are very wonderful takeaways which other states should also incorporate.
thank you so much, sir, for joining Chan Ki Baat. And we do hope that with this series we start a trend of really analyzing these state budgets, where the fiscal management can improve and where really the Aam Aadmi can benefit through better governance. Thank you so much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Chan Ki Baat with one and only Professor Mukul Asher, and this is Pradeep Bhandari this side and my fellow teammate